Cam Whitnall, star of CBBC show 1 Zoo 3.
This is 1 Zoo 3.
TikToker with 500,000 followers, and he runs a zoo with his brothers and family.
Bringing you a kid-friendly radio show every Saturday afternoon on YouTube, broadcasting live at 1 o'clock. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock.
Hello and welcome to episode 63 of The Brit Show with me, Ethan. Coming up on today's show is my interview with star of CBBC show 1 Zoo 3, TikTok creator with over 500,000 followers, and he runs a zoo with his brothers, Cam Whitnall. So let's get straight into my interview with Cam Whitnall. Welcome on the show, star of CBBC show 1 Zoo 3, TikToker with 500,000 followers, and he runs a zoo with his brothers and family. It's the amazing Cam Whitnall. How are you doing today?
Hey everyone, yeah, really well, thank you, and thank you very much for having me on the show.
It's okay. So if people don't know who you are, tell them what you do.
Cool. My name is Cam Whitnall, and I do a few things, to be fair. I'm very fortunate to run a zoo and a sanctuary with my family and our incredible staff at both sites. So we have Paradise Wildlife Park and the Big Cat Sanctuary. As well as that, I'm a content creator. So I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, where I just share all types of content of what we do abroad for conservation and what we get up to at both sites, as well as my photography.
Yeah, so let's go right back to the start. So is that right, that ever since you were born, you lived at Paradise Wildlife Park? Yes,
I've had a very different upbringing, a very cool upbringing. Yeah, I've lived at Paradise Wildlife Park my entire life, so it's always been my home.
Yeah, so let's go back before you were born. So how did Paradise Wildlife Park start?
Yeah, of course. It's a really good story, this one. It actually started with my granddad and nan, so Peter and Grace Sampson, who still work probably upstairs right now to this day, and they're incredible. But they used to have a really successful coach, bus and travel company, which was one of the biggest in the UK, and they needed somewhere to park their buses and coaches, and stumbled across what was Broxbourne Zoo at the time. This was in the 1980s, early 1980s. And it was basically a dump site, but it did have animals inside. And sadly, these animals lived in absolutely awful conditions. You know, they had a chimpanzee that smoked, they had a little baby elephant at the time there, all sorts of animals. They had a lion, which was just in this tiny, tiny little pen. And obviously, once kind of getting to see the zoo and having a look, they kind of had this kind of moment where they decided to take over the zoo and sell their successful company and kind of rebuild the zoo. And the first thing they did was rebuild a new enclosure for Bobby the lion, who pretty much started Paradise Wildlife Park. And at the time, there was calls for it to get closed down, the zoo. They had animal rights and protesters outside the gates, but they just cracked on and pretty much rebuilt the zoo. And yeah, Bobby the lion was kind of the first animal they made a new home for. And I think he was 12 at the time, and it was the first time he'd stepped foot on grass in his new enclosure, and it kind of started everything to this day. And then in 2000, they launched the Big Cat Sanctuary, which is my granddad's passion in particular, is big cats and small cats. So that's just a sanctuary dedicated to the welfare breeding, conservation and education of big and small cats.
Yeah. So as you said, you lived on the site as a kid. So what were you like as a kid?
Oh, what was I like as a kid? I was quite quiet. Looking back at some early videos, yeah, I was quite quiet and shy. But I loved animals. I mean, we have a pond in the zoo, and back in the day when I was like 4 or 5, I think there's pictures of me that I posted recently, where I used to go over to the pond and just go and grab a duck or grab a terrapin or get a load of fish in a bucket. I was just obsessed with animals from a very early age, and that's kind of what led to obviously now what I do now, which is lucky.
Yeah.
Pretty special.
Yeah. So like, what did people think at school of you having a zoo? Did they tease you, or did you even get bullied about it, or were they like, oh wow, he's got a zoo?
Yeah, the latter. I didn't get teased or bullied. It was just, I guess, a cool thing. I mean, I didn't really think much about it because I'd grown up in that environment.
Yeah. You thought it was normal?
It was a normal thing to me, but whereas others, yeah, I mean, they don't have lions in their back garden, and monkeys and camels and zebras and all sorts. So yeah, it was very different upbringing. But yeah, at school, I was fine. I was one of the, I guess, cool kids for a little bit.
Yeah. So when you were not at school, were you just helping out around the zoo?
Yeah, my brothers and I, we always used to help out in like summers and like half terms whenever we could, really. So I used to love, I still do, reptiles and birds and small mammals. So they were like the 3 sections I'd mainly work on at the zoo. Obviously Aaron, he was like mainly primates and cats, and Ty just did a bit of everything, to be fair. But yeah, we just help out whenever needed. And it wasn't just the animals that we did. We used to dress up in costume characters. So we used to have to be like the Easter Bunny, or we had to man the rides when we used to have rides here. So we did a bit of everything: litter picking, park services, all sorts. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what do you think the positives were as living at a zoo as a child?
Everything. Literally, the back garden was a zoo. We also had like a crazy golf course and all sorts. So that was a positive. But I guess from a young age, it got you to connect with nature very quick and early on, which back then wasn't really a thing. I guess back then, kids growing up, you know, they wanted to be, I guess, footballers. They still do want to be footballers, but obviously that's where it's kind of changed the mindset of people. And I think the younger generation now kind of want to work with animals, be conservationists, save species. Whereas back then, I think it was very different. So yeah, growing up at the zoo was pretty cool.
Yeah. So like, what do you think the negatives were of that? If there was any?
No, I wouldn't say there's a single negative thing about growing up at the zoo. As I say all the time, I was just very fortunate. Have a great family, had great people around us, had awesome animals to work with and care for. So there was not a single negative, to be honest.
Yeah. So if you were to have kids, would you bring them up on the zoo?
Yeah, 100%. I'd love for my kids in the future to, I guess, work at the family business. I guess it's held down 4 generations technically. Obviously, my nan and granddad started it, but my nan's dad, I think it was also working at the zoo. And obviously, my mum and dad are the directors, and Aaron, Ty, and I are all doing it as well. And I'd love for all our kids to be involved in the future.
Yeah. So after school, you went off to Bournemouth uni to do TV production. So why did you decide to do that? And did you ever want to go into the TV industry?
To be honest, my parents, I'm very lucky that they gave me a really good upbringing, and they always encouraged us to go out and do our own thing. So we all went out and did our own thing, and we pretty much had backup plans just in case it never worked out at the park, basically. So I went to Bournemouth just to study TV production, which is a weird course in a way, TV production. And yeah, I loved it. It was really cool. And it's led me on to this moment where I do a lot of content today, which is super helpful. So yeah, that was pretty much why I went. It was pretty much a backup plan, just in case it didn't work out for any of us here.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's actually turned out that it's been more helpful than ever being here. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So obviously, I eventually want to become a TV presenter. That's like my dream.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy like Bournemouth as TV production, and do you use your degree a lot in your current job?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's a weird one really, because I've gone from behind the camera to in front of the camera. Don't get me wrong, I still, shoot cameras as well, videos and photos, but yeah, it's been a weird transition period. And I guess at Bournemouth, I did a lot of things there on the course, but luckily I had to work with presenters at the time and actors and things like that. So I got a good understanding of how to work with those sort of people. And then being, on 123 now on CBBC, and me having to be that person in front of the camera, it's been nice to kind of see, that change. And I guess I understand it from both sides now, which is cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of like my skill set, I learned a lot of camera work and things, so which is all applied to what I do to this day. So it's very helpful.
Yeah. So was it weird coming like away from the zoo when you went off to uni?
Yeah, it was very weird. But it was nice to be away as well, because when I'm here it's like 7 days a week, non-stop. But obviously back then I was younger. I was like 17, 18. But yeah, no, it was nice to get away and experience new things. Especially Bournemouth is like such a good place. So yeah, I really liked it. But yeah, now I could never see myself leaving. I'm always here.
Yeah. So what was your job at the zoo and sanctuary straight after uni?
So straight after uni, I joined actually the marketing department to bring my skill set to pretty much create content on both sites. Just pretty much show what our animals are getting up to our wider audience that can be with us on the day, or that are in America, Australia, and all sorts. So I did a lot of filming, editing, photography, and as well as that, helped with the future planning. And, I did a little bit of everything, and that's still to this day. My job role's changed a lot, don't get me wrong, with 123 and being in front of the camera now, but I still support in that area, because content's so important to get that message across. So I get the best of both worlds. I can be with the animals every day, but I'm also getting to film them as well, which is cool.
Yeah. So then in 2020, your TV show about you and your brothers, 123, premiered on the 28th of September on CBBC. So how did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one, really. So Tyler and Brit at the time partnered with, basically entered a competition called Motivision, and it was where they'd back an organisation to do a conservation project or a charitable project, and their idea was to drive around 4 East African countries, stopping off our conservation partners at the park. And that's how, and then they brought Aaron and I into the mix, and they won the award. And yeah, we set off an adventure around East Africa, driving around, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya, stopping off at our partners. And obviously it got a bit of interest from TV production companies. I think we had quite a few interested. But before we went out, we met with a woman called Wendy, a guy called Tom, who actually produced Big Cats About the House, which was our BBC Two series with Giles at the Sanctuary. And within 10 minutes, Wendy, who is, the founder of True to Nature, our production company, she just blew us away, really. It was incredible. It was the best meeting we've ever had. And we were like, we would love for True to Nature to kind of take us on board and lead the project. So we went out there, filmed it all of our conservation work, got back, shared it with Wendy, and we kind of just waited for a bit. I said a bit about 2 years. And then we got a call one day from Wendy just saying, look, have this opportunity with CBBC, 5-part series. Are you keen to do it? We need to start filming in literally like a month or two. And obviously Aaron, Ty and I were like, yes. And that's how it all started, really. We got filming in 2020 in July, in summer, smashed out 5 episodes, which the team did amazingly well. And then, it aired in September later that year.
Yeah. So who and why did you come up with the name of 1Zoo3?
So we didn't come up with the name. That was more True to Nature and CBBC, but I guess it's simple in a way. 1Zoo3, 1, 2, 3 brothers. So it's kind of like so I think so.
Yeah. So has the show increased your number of visitors to the park?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's been good. The park's always kind of been an upward trend anyway, but the show's obviously projected that even further. So it's been nice getting around and going to meet some of the people that have been visiting Paradise, just because, we've had people from Southampton, Cornwall, all the way up north in Manchester, Birmingham, all sorts. So definitely a more widespread audience who's visiting the site, which is amazing, to be honest. Yeah.
So you said series 1 was filmed in July of 2020. So how was that with the ongoing situation with COVID?
Yeah, I mean, it was just luckily it was before COVID, so it kind of just missed the boat on that. But obviously with the new series, it was in COVID for filming. We had to film for a year, so it had its challenges. Obviously, had to wear masks. Animals can catch COVID, so we just had to make sure that we were protecting the animals, and the animals were safe, and also we were safe. Our team was safe. The production team was safe as well. So it had its challenges, but we overcame, which was good.
Yeah. So was it weird just to have like a camera crew following you around on your day to day?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, let me think about it. When it first happened, I guess the production company is so good and they gelled with us so quick that it was fine. We didn't really take notice of it. So it wasn't too bad. And I guess through our experience of being behind the camera and sometimes occasionally in front of the camera, it was fine. So yeah, it wasn't too weird. Occasionally it can be weird. But no, it has been fine, to be honest with you. It's been fun. And yeah, as I said, we've gelled really good and really well with the production company, which obviously makes things so much better and so much smoother and easier. And you just feel more comfortable.
Yeah. So like, how big is the crew that follow you around the zoo?
Believe it or not, so really only 2 people. So you have your director who's shooting all the content, and then your researcher, runner, who are supporting, and also that second kind of camera operator, which they're playing their part in as well. It's more behind the scenes. The crew behind the scenes is massive, on the production, which is really cool to see. And we've met all of them, which is great. So yeah, the crew definitely behind the camera, and in the offices is like a big crew of like 15, 20 maybe. But yeah, actually on the day filming us, really small, which makes things a lot easier, a lot simpler as well.
Yeah. So did you have to like plan anything for the show, or did they just film your lives?
No. A lot of it is planned as well. I mean, when you're working with animals, you kind of need to plan it because you never know what's going to happen. So yeah, the whole of the last year really, I think we started filming end of June in 2021. So literally we've only just finished July 2020, end of July 2022. So yeah, a lot of planning involved, like tons and tons of planning. But you know, the show's gone out, which is cool, and hopefully, you know, it goes down well.
Yeah. So like, how involved were you in the post-production of the series?
Not really involved, to be honest, and it's probably a good thing. I mean, True to Nature are incredible, so we're always in safe hands, and they're always gonna put together an incredible show. So not really involved. Obviously, we had to liaise with certain shots, or would give them feedback after the end of some of the episodes, which they'd send over, just to get our thoughts, and if there needed to be any changes to, you know, voiceover or script or some of the animals, you know. But other than that, not too involved. The team at True to Nature did incredibly well. So yeah, it was fine. It was very smooth.
Yeah. So like, is 1Zoo3 an accurate representation of your life?
Well, it's changed a lot now. Now with the show, because yeah, I think we're pretty much in meetings all the time now, and doing a lot of work and bits like this, which is really cool. But yeah, I mean, we've grown up at the zoo our entire life and the sanctuary. We're working every single day to try and create the best sites possible, not only for animal welfare, but also our conservation work, our education work, sustainability, literally everything. And we're just fortunate to have incredible teams at both sites that see the vision and are taking it forward as well. So it's very exciting. But yeah, it's yeah, 7 days a week, non-stop, which is, you know, it's cool.
Yeah. So do you know if there will be any more series in the future?
I'm not allowed to comment yet. But yeah, there's a few rumblings at the minute. So just watch this space is all I can say.
So would you like there to be more series?
100%. Yeah, it's awesome. I absolutely love it. We all love it. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what is your current role at the zoo and sanctuary?
My current role, well, it's just changing at the minute. What would my current role kind of be? A little bit of everything at the minute. But it's not really defined at the minute, just with the show going out. But at the minute, we're just looking at the rebrand, the future planning and the master planning of both sites, and future projects that we're working on. So that's probably what my role is looking at the minute, and also our conservation work, and producing a lot of content for that. So yeah, it's a very varied role. I wouldn't say there's anything specific at the minute. Yeah, it changes every day.
Yeah, you mentioned actually about the rebrand to Hertfordshire Zoo in 2024. So why do you feel now is the right time to rebrand to that?
I think we've got to a level where, you know, we want to showcase the work that Kids Zoos are doing. We've had a really rich history, and I think it's just taking it to the next level now. It puts us on the map for Hertfordshire, which obviously Aaron Ty and I have all grown up in Hertfordshire. It's our county. So yeah, we want to represent Hertfordshire as a whole. We want to build our audience further. And I think we'll be able to achieve that with Hertfordshire Zoo, and put us on the map with some of the best zoos in the world, which is going to be fun and exciting.
Yeah. So do you think you'll be doing this for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Yeah, straight up, 100%. It's what I love. It's my passion. I get to do it with my family, my brothers. So yeah, I can't picture myself anywhere else other than at both sites and working with animals for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So do you still live with your family on the site every single day?
Yeah. I'm at my parents actually. I'm hoping to move out fairly soon. But yeah, I'm just at my parents, and obviously we're on site at the zoo. So I just walked through a gate and we're on the zoo, which is cool. My room looks out over the lemurs and lions, so a night's sleep is quite difficult when you have motor and the lemurs kicking up a fuss every now and then. But no, it's cool.
Yeah. So do you like so when you eventually move out, will you move out of the park?
Yeah. I don't know yet. I need to work it out. But probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how's it like working with your brothers and the rest of your family on a day-to-day basis? Because many families don't do that. Many families don't spend as much time as you do together.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, with my brothers, we're brothers, so we're always going to bicker and argue from time to time. But, you know, we all get on so well. We're very lucky in that sense. You know, they're my best mates. My dad's my best mate. My mum's my best mate. So it just makes life easy. And also Tyler's wife, Carly Whitnall, who also works here, like my best mate as well. So yeah, it's good. But yeah, obviously as family, we still have our bickerments, which is normal. But we all have the same vision. We all have the same goal. We all want to accomplish the same thing. So it makes life so much easier when we're all on that same path.
So like, because you're the youngest brother of the three, do you get like bullied or teased as the youngest? Because I know how you feel, because I'm the youngest out of three brothers as well.
Do I get bullied or teased? No, I'd say I probably bicker with Aaron most, youngest and oldest class, and Tyler's just there, just staring the pot basically. But no, I'm all right. I get away with everything from my mum and dad being the youngest, so that's a touch. But yeah, no, it's fairly okay. When I was younger, maybe Aaron and Tyler used to, you know, just do what older brothers used to do. But yeah, it's all right now.
Yeah. So like, what is your favorite thing about your life living at a zoo and working at a zoo?
Oh, what is my favorite thing? That's a very good question. I get asked it a lot, but I never really know what to say. I guess a few things. Favorite thing growing up at the zoo and working with wildlife. Literally that in a nutshell, really. I mean, I get to walk out my door every day and be on the zoo, be surrounded by incredible animals. Another favorite thing, I get to work with my family, which is the best thing ever. And also the big picture as well, what we're doing for conservation abroad and around the world is like my favorite thing to be involved with, and taking the park forwards, not just Paradise but the sanctuary as well. We've got a really exciting future, so I think just looking forward ahead of that is probably my favorite thing. Continuously progressing and you know, bringing new ideas and things to the forefront to make the businesses and charities as good as possible.
Yeah. So what is your least favorite?
My least favorite, again, I wouldn't really have one. Least favorite thing, probably being woken up every night by the animals, especially when it's hot and you have to have the windows open. I mean, a lion's roar can be heard from like 5 kilometers away.
Wow.
Like 20 yards away. So it's very loud.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world. You know, to wake up to a lion's roar is special. I don't get bored of it.
No.
So, yeah, I don't have a least favorite thing.
I can imagine. That's always good to not have a least favorite thing. You know you're in the right path. So you also introduced CCV to the zoo and to all of the animals. So what are the most interesting thing you've seen on them?
I mean, the CCTV cameras are like the best things ever in animal habitats, because it's not only great for keepers to research and monitor the animals and their welfare, but also kind of gives you a behind the scenes look of what our animals get up to, which is always great. And I guess it started with our snow leopards, Jessie and Panja. I mean, they're just obsessed with each other. They're like couple goals. So it's definitely them. I mean, always either cuddling Like, I mean, we've posted hundreds of videos of them on CCTV cameras just being absolutely adorable in bed, cuddling and spooning and just being cute, or jumping and going crazy around their habitat, really, which is always fun to see. But I mean, we have it in quite a few habitats: our tigers, our anacondas, red pandas, otters, lions at Paradise, and we also have them at the Bay Cat Sanctuary as well with our snow leopards down there, and our jaguars. We'll do camera traps with our palace cats. So it's just nice to go, I guess, have a look behind the scenes of what our animals get up to when no one else is around. But we have some very cool stuff that we're going to be releasing next week from our CCTV cameras. But I can't say anything.
Oh, watch out.
Watch out.
So how much like manual zookeeping do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Not as much anymore, just because of the show. But yes, it's usually a lot more in the office at the minute, and out and about filming. So which is great. And then whenever we can, we try and go abroad. So to see our conservation partners. So we just got back from India, where we were out there for about 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
Creating new conservation partners out there, which was really cool. And also seeing tigers for the first time in the wild was pretty amazing. And we've got other trips planned throughout the rest of the year, which is cool. So that's where it's mainly what it's mainly doing at the minute. But I mean, our teams at both sites are incredible. Our zookeeping teams. So yeah, we're really lucky.
Yeah, so you mentioned about your conservation projects. So like, how is that like when you get to go out to these places and see all these animals in the wild and travel all across the world?
Probably the best part about it, to be honest, because it shows multiple things. I mean, the work that you're supporting to give animals a better future. I mean, at the minute, it's not looking great for a lot. There's a lot of threats, a lot of impacts. Poaching, habitat loss, human and wildlife coexistence, and the conflict between there. Climate change, obviously, the illegal wildlife trade, and medicine, and all sorts. So yeah, when you go out to these our conservation partners, it's really rewarding to see the work being done to protect the species, and how we're contributing to that, which is key. And that's why anyone that comes through our gates sees the animals, they're educated, they learn something, and also they learn about the work that we're doing to protect them. And also the people. Some of my favourite times of being our conservation partners is meeting the people behind it, because they're incredibly inspiring, and you can kind of just trust that their life is wildlife. I mean, we've met incredible people that are just doing incredible things to protect species, and that's the most important part. So yeah, definitely the best part about what we do is the conservation work.
Yeah, you can see it's very important to you. But like, how do you balance animals with the animal needs with the customers?
Well, how do I explain this? What do you mean technically?
But so like one example, like when you're building a new habitat, like how much of the animal needs versus what it looks like for the customers?
Animals come first. So every single habitat is built first of all for the animals, and then for the keepers, to make it work well for the keepers, and then obviously visitors third, and that's just because animal welfare is the most important. So we need to make sure the animals have everything they need, the best welfare possible, to live a happy life, basically. And you'll see that with our most recent projects in our new anaconda habitat, which was built about 5 years ago. It has every need that the anacondas needs to live a good life, and then straight through from our new tigers, landed tigers, our lions. We're currently building Sunbear Heights, Jaguar Jungle, lots of rocks, and they're going to be incredible for the animals that are going to live there. They literally have everything they need, which is cool. And also from a visitor perspective, we're very different in the sense that we just have one panel of glass, so you can get really up close and personal with our animals, which is one of the key things that we try and achieve at the zoo, because there's nothing better than a close-up animal encounter. It's like the thing you take home. It's the most special part of it all. So yeah, it's great. But yeah, animals always come first.
Yeah. So like, what was the thought process of building your world of dinosaurs made up of 40 like robotic dinosaurs? Because obviously that money could have gone to a new animal habitat or support your conservation projects, but it could make you more money, so you could even more support the conservation projects.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, our dinosaurs has been like a game changer for us, to be honest. I mean, dinosaurs are back in the national curriculum for schools. They're a great education point, and obviously we tie that in with animals of today. I mean, dinosaurs went extinct, and a lot of animals today are on that critically endangered list and endangered list, and soon potentially could go extinct as well. So obviously there's that crossover there. Kids absolutely love dinosaurs. Adults absolutely love dinosaurs. And also we knew that by doing it, it's a new attraction for the site, and hopefully it will bring in more profit and revenue for us to invest more heavily in the zoo. And literally since doing that, every single project we've done, pretty much thanks to investing in the dinosaurs and also just running the business right in a way. So yeah, the dinosaurs have been a game changer and pretty much led to where we are today, with the constant investment and progress that we're making every single year. I mean, since the dinosaurs, we've done like 7-8 major projects in those 4 years, which is massive. And obviously, soon to be opening is some of the highest Jaguar Jungle and Otter Rocks, which are all state-of-the-art habitats. And then our next project after that is our lemurs. So we're going to be doing a brand new Madagascar area for our lemurs. So yeah, it's all played its part, which is really great. And people, as I said, people absolutely love dinosaurs. So it was a no-brainer from us. They are awesome. It's so good. It's so cool. I love it.
Yeah. So like, how many visitors do you get per day?
Per day. At the minute, we're getting about 2,500, 3,000, but it's capped. But it's just capped at the minute, just to give people a better experience, so it's not overcrowded. And also from the back of COVID as well, there are still people that would rather less people. So it's important to us to make sure people are happy as well and comfortable in the environment that they're in. And it's also better for the animals. But yeah, we get about 350,000 visitors a year. We're hoping to, grow that every single year now as well.
Wow. So like, obviously COVID hit in 2020, and you were forced to close down. So how was that?
Yeah, to be honest, it was really, really difficult. Obviously not just for us, but every single person and business in the world. So yeah, it was difficult, but at the same time, we tried to see the positives. And to be honest, the support of all of our local community just blew us away. We'd have people donating food for the animals and funds, obviously, to keep us going throughout COVID, which was super special. And we also connected our audience who couldn't visit through live streams and just being super, super hyperactive on social media, which was key to just connect them to what we're doing every single day to keep the animals happy. And obviously our incredible staff that worked every single day on a skeleton crew, provide the best welfare and continue to feed the animals and keep them enriched and happy. So yeah, no, it was a really surreal time for us and a real scary time. But yeah, thanks to the local community, they really helped us massively. I mean, so much so that we actually had to turn donations away, like food donations.
Wow.
Fridges were literally, and freezers were filled.
I interrupt the interview to tell you after that question, which was cut out because of the 40-minute time limit on Zoom, and then my computer crashed, and then Cam had to go and do some other stuff, so we filmed the next section a couple of weeks later. That's why we are wearing different clothes, and he has a different haircut as well. So remember, if you like the interview, please like and subscribe. Now that's sorted, let's get back to the interview. Okay, so what advice would you give to anyone wanting to work in a zoo?
So the advice I'd give, well, there's multiple options you could take, really. You can go into the education route. So obviously you can get your degree or diploma and anything in wildlife, in animal husbandry, anything to do with animals, to be honest, is a great way to start. You can volunteer, so not just at a zoo, wildlife park, a sanctuary, a pet shelter, anything to do with animals is really good. Even a pet shop is a really great way to start, to get your foot in the door. You've also got work experience opportunities, and sometimes it is about who you know and not what you know. So reach out to family, friends, and get your foot in the door that way. And another good way to do it is just to be busy, like kind of declare your interest instead of sending your CV. I know it's a lot more effort, but show up at that zoo. Put a face to the name is really important. Show how far you're willing to go to really work with wildlife.
Yeah, that is great advice. What advice would you give to someone who wants to make a real difference in conservation, but you don't have the money that you, the funding that you have?
Good question. I mean, there's multiple ways you can make a real difference without funding, and it can be as simple as your phone and social media. I mean, how many billion people are on social media right now? And it's screaming out for a voice. And there's a lot of positive conservation news stories that can be shared. You can raise awareness on multiple topics and species and their decline, ways you can help. I even do it myself on my own socials. I do my wildlife good news each month, just raising awareness for all different conservation and good news stories within our profession and just the natural world, which is really cool. So yeah, really simple ways in sense of that, but also just, as I said, volunteering, helping out, just getting your foot in the door can go a long way. Yeah. Being loud.
Yeah, you mentioned about the social media. You also have TikTok. You also have a TikTok account over 500,000 followers on there, where you share your adventures. So what advice would you give to anyone who wants to be successful on TikTok?
Very good question. I guess for me, the way I did it is I was dilly-dallying for quite a while. Oh, should I do it? Shouldn't I? And there's never a right time to do something. You just need to just dive into the deep end and see if it works or not. That's exactly what I did. I think I started with some of my photography videos, took inspiration from others on TikTok, which is always a good way to start. Put my face to camera, which back then in lockdown I wasn't really used to doing, and posted one, and then I was just really consistent. Posted 5, and then after, on the 6th video, I think it was the Shuble stalk from our travels in Uganda, that went pretty big, and it kind of like launched my TikTok channel in a way, and that's what's helped me get to 500k. But I do a bit of everything. I'm really consistent. I post as much as I can every single week, which is really key to success. Having that niche also helps. Mine is wildlife, so anyone that follows me, they know what they're going to get. It's going to be animals pretty much all the time, or wildlife photography, or conservation stories, or news on wildlife in general. So that's always helpful. But yeah, to be honest, everyone does it differently. As I said, that's how I started, but there's a lot of creators, a lot of influencers that kind of just do their own thing. It can be really simple, or it can be a little bit more long form. I kind of sit in the middle there. but yeah, just don't think about it. Just do it. Just jump at the opportunity. There's never a right time to do anything, as I said. So just do it. I'm trying to get my brother on it, so hopefully you'll see him soon. And yeah, just share your experiences. Everyone's interested. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. So thank you for coming on today. It's been a great interview.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me as well.
Even though it has taken longer than we expected. But yeah.
Cool. Thank you very
Okay,
much,
thank you again for coming on, and thank you coming on again just to put that finishing on the interview. Okay,
Yeah, no
thank
worries.
you.
Have a good day, all right?
Bye. So hopefully you liked my interview with Cam Whitnall. I do want to say a big thank you to Cam for giving up so much his time to do an interview. If you want to check out more of Cam, the link to his socials, his zoo and his TV show are all in the description down below. So one more thing is that you can now listen to the Brit Kids show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts again. We did have the episodes at one point last year or the year before releasing on both audio and video, but then I forgot to upload the audio for months. But now we've got them back on, yes, from episode 19 to right up until episode 62. So if you'd rather listen to the show in your car or on your run or on your way to work, you can just click the links in the description or search the Brit Kids Show on Spotify, Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. Also, over the past few months, the show has been really inconsistent. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm going to get it back on track. So we will definitely be releasing an episode every 2 weeks on Sunday on time at 1 o'clock. For once. Expect the show to be more consistent, as well as our podcast socials more consistent as well. Sadly, that is all we have time for in today's show. We will be back on the 19th of October at the same time with another interview. Share this video with your friends and family, like, comment, listen to last week's episode if you haven't already, listen to this show until the end, email me and follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe because we are trying to get to 200 subscribers. In the meantime, if you have any suggestions to make the show better, or if you want the chance to come on the show, comment below, message me on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, or email me at thebritkidshow@gmail.com. So that is all we have time for this week. We will be back on the 9th of October at the same time, but for now, goodbye.
Bringing you a kid-friendly radio show every Saturday afternoon on YouTube. Broadcasting live at 1 o'clock. Broadcasting